Hey guys, how's it going? Sorry about the mess. I was working on the PS2 Model 25 a little bit. Got big goings on with it. I have a whole bunch of videos on that. Basically, we're going to upgrade it to a 286 and build an entirely new expansion riser for it with a built-in hard drive controller, assuming I can get all of the traces routed right in my PC board design software. But anyway, before we get around to that, this video is for a guy on the Nox Archaeus Discord channel that was trying to figure out how to add a switch to his Apple 5.25 Unidisk to bypass the write protect notch, so that you could always write to disks whether or not they were notched. So this is the inside of an Apple 5.25 drive like the one that you posted a picture of in the Discord server. This is the newer model with the DB19 connector on it that daisy chains. It's not the Disk 2 that's double height with the black faceplate that folds down. This is the newer drive mechanism. So that's like that one drive that you have, that other third-party drive that you had a picture of. I have no idea about, but the principles are the same for all of them. So the older discs used a micro switch that snapped out into the write protect notch, but these don't. But let me go get a disc to put in here and show you. Hang on a second. I know I've got some here somewhere. I should have been prepared for recording shit, but I'm too dumb. Okay, so let's zoom in here a little bit. So this right here is the write protect sensor. Sorry about the filthy fingers. I was working on a corn drying contraption all day today, and I have stains that won't come off. So sorry. Anyway, so yeah, that's the write protect sensor right there. And on the older drives, there was actually a micro switch there that snapped out into the notch on the disc. See, as we insert the disc, there's the notch. You can see it there coming. The older ones had an actual micro switch that snapped out into that notch to tell whether the disc was supposed to be write protected or not. These and so yeah, if the disc is write protected, there obviously is no notch, so there's nowhere for the switch to pop out into, right? But these newer drives have a photo sensor in here. There's a diode on the bottom that shines a light emitting diode on the bottom that shines a light up through the space here into this photo transistor right here on well, maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it shines it down through. We'll have to take it apart and see. But when the light passes through there, it causes the photo transistor to conduct like a switch, but not mechanical. So it's the same principle as a mechanical switch. There just aren't any moving parts to wear out and break. So let me see if I can get some more of this shielding off of here. This disk drive is broken. I mean, this part works fine, but I think there's a bad transistor on the analog board. I haven't gotten around to fixing it yet. So let me see if I can get this bottom metal off of here so we can see what's going on. I'll be right back. So yeah, this is the photo transistor on the top here, and the LED is on the bottom, it looks like. So the wires come down. They've got some heat shrink on them. You can see, you can just barely see in this slot here that the wires are violet and orange once they come out of this heat shrink here, and it goes into this harness right here and comes up out into this connector on the top that plugs into the analog board, which will sit right here when the disk drive is assembled. It plugs into the analog board right here, and it looks like, well, there are two different orange wires here. That's kind of aggravating. Hang on a second. I'm not going to record tracing this, but I'll figure it out for you. Okay, yeah, it's pins 9 and 11 on this connector right here. and those are this one and this one. That orange one and that violet one right there. So if we want a switch installed in this disk drive that bypasses write protection and allows us to always write to the thing, then we want to make this thing think that it's conducting, even when that the phototransistor is conducting, i.e. there's light shining on it, even when it's not. So the way we would do that is to short these two wires, this orange and this purple wire, together with a switch. So what we want to do is kind of just untwist this connector here a little bit and pull these wires up out of the harness. Now you probably want to use a soldering iron for this because it'll make a more secure connection, but what you'll want to do, this is probably the easiest place to do it, back near this harness, is to cut these two wires, strip off a little bit of insulation, and splice two more wires onto those. And then so you'll cut the purple wire, and then you'll splice it back together with another wire, preferably a purple wire if you've got one, sticking out of it. So you'll have the wire spliced back how it originally was, but you'll have another one coming out of it like that. And you'll do the same with the orange wire. So you'll have two spare wires here, right, coming out towards the front of the disk drive, and you'll have to find some place to mount the switch. And once you've got that spliced, you know you want to solder them and tape them up, or you can use heat shrink tubing if you've got a heat gun or something, or I guess you can use a cigarette lighter for that kind of stuff too. So you'll run those wires forward and attach them to a switch somewhere, just a two-position switch of some kind, and mount that somewhere where it'll fit. You don't want it to get in the way of this disc mechanism here, but there's probably some way you can probably mount it in the back of the disk drive enclosure somewhere, and just run those wires back to there. And the way these switches work, the contacts that are closed are the opposite ones of the way the switch is pointing. So when the switch is down like this, it's these top contacts that are connected together, and when the switch is up like this, it's these bottom two contacts that are connected together. So if you want, the switch to be flipped a certain way, you need to keep that in mind when you mount it in there, one way or the other. And that's all there is to it. Then when you flip the switch, it'll basically just short through that phototransistor, so that it always thinks that there's light shining on it, even when there's not. And when you flip it back up, it'll remove that short, so the phototransistor goes back to working like it's supposed to, and your write protect notch, if you've got a piece of tape over it, will actually write protect the disk. So this is completely unrelated, but for extra credit, what you might do for shits and giggles is here's our activity LED in the front of the filthy enclosure that drive came out of, and the wire hanging off of it. And this is it's just a single color red LED, and it's square. I don't have any square multicolor LEDs, but this is a round type of RGB LED. It's got a single anode and 3 other pins for red, green, and blue, and you can actually apply like PWM signals to these 3 pins to do like any color you want with these with a microcontroller, which is kind of cool. But that's beyond the scope of this discussion. But they also make 2-color LEDs that are like green or red, and for extra credit, once you get your switch installed and you're feeling more comfortable with farting around with this stuff, for extra credit, you can remove your single color LED and install a multicolor drive activity LED up here, and take your multimeter or oscilloscope and figure out exactly what's happening on the one pin or the other of that phototransistor when it's conducting. And my supposition is that it's probably pulling something low, meaning it'll be going to ground. So you can probably do something where you can light the other color of the LED based on the voltage of whether that line for the phototransistor is high or low. That might allow you to create an indicator that'll tell you whether the disk is write protected or not by also turning on like the green color on the LED. Or since you're using you could be using a double pole switch like this, you could also just wire the LED up so that it only comes on, the other color only comes on when you've got the write protect override turned on. So then the green color will come on, and when the red comes on while the green's on too, it'll turn like yellow, I guess, right? Orangish. So yeah, yeah, that's your extra credit project once you get your switch installed. And here is something interesting. This is the enclosure that broken disk drive came out of, and it's got this ratty old label on the top of it that says AutoGen 6500 on it, and the AutoGen 6500 was some kind of Apple II based piece of medical imaging equipment from the 80s. So this was used. This disk drive must have come out of a hospital at some time or other. Fascinating. So I hope that's relatively clear. If not, I apologize. I just don't have the energy right now to tear my 2GS apart and get a working disk drive out of it and demonstrate this on. I guess if you're really hard up and you just don't feel comfortable doing this yourself, and you don't know anybody around there near where you are that would do this for you, if you want to pay the shipping both ways, I guess I could install a switch in your disk drive for you, as long as you don't mind me recording it for one of these YouTube videos. Yeah, it'll be like the shipping both ways, and then like $2 for a switch or something. Or don't even worry about that. I'll supply a switch, whatever. Anyway, yeah, like send me a DM on Discord if you want me to do that. I'm in Fort Sybert, West Virginia. Oh no, I doxed myself. Nope, somebody's gonna come rob me. That's all right. West Virginia is both a castle and stand your ground state, so we'll see what happens. Anyhow, thank you for joining me, gentlemen. I hope that this was a little more interesting than all of that video conversion circuitry that we were trying to work on before. I've got some more of that coming. One more video that I haven't finished editing yet. I know it's boring and you're tired of seeing it, but we'll take a break from that and work on the PS2 Model 25 here a little bit. Once some of my parts get here. This thing's gonna rock when we get it done. It's gonna be exciting. All right, and I guess that's it. Thanks for watching. Have a lovely evening.